Very first thing that came to my mind when he told me he wanted to do this was like, what an idiot.
Fortunate in 2017 to race the Ironman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii. And on that day, which I thought, this is the Super Bowl, this is the last race I'm ever gonna do. And so, you know, this is it. But during the race, I had this voice all throughout going, you're meant to do more. You're meant to do more. And I'm just like going, what else more is there in regards to triathlon? This is it, there's nothing above this. But that voice just kept coming. I remember coming down the finisher chute, a dream I had ever since I was a kid, crossed that finish line, and I was so excited, took it in, and I remember almost walking off like, this is it. I said, take one last look back. Take that mental snapshot to use something to remember by. And I remember taking that, that mental snapshot to look back, and all the noise, all the pomp and circumstances just came very quiet. And I knew then what I wanted to do. That was to give somebody that same feeling of crossing their own finish line, that had different ability. And so in essence, looking back, that finish line became my new start line.
Like, this is such a bad idea. Like, I can't believe that he wants to tackle this challenge and this like craziness. But after the initial shock wore off, I was like, this is gonna be cool, let's do it.
So I immediately was like on a mission to find people who do this, to find the equipment, and I actually bought a customized cart to tow somebody well before I ever talked to a family. So, that old adage, I put the cart in front of the horse. And so for the next 3 months, I was just researching, but thinking, what mom or dad out there is gonna let me take their son or daughter, put them in a kayak, put them in a cart, and do all these wild things. And I was just thinking, who do I know? And it dawned on me that my son grew up with a young man from junior high on and that has cerebral palsy. And I knew of Bryce and his family, but I didn't know Bryce. So I remember reaching out to his mother saying, would your son be interested in possibly doing some running events? So I kept it at running. I didn't want to like overwhelm with Ironman. And she's like, go for it.
I was a normal college student getting a degree in personal finance.
So I reached out to Bryce and said, hey bud, remember me? He's like, absolutely. Let's go get coffee. I want to catch up with you on some things and I want to run something by you.
I didn't think that when I met him for coffee that next week that we would sit down and have an actual genuine conversation, because I remember the first thing out of his mouth. It was not about racing. He said, cut the bullshit. Let's actually get to know each other on a genuine level. I want to know who Bryce Wooten is. And at 21 years old, I didn't really know who I was. I had just lost my dad the year prior, and I had been battling, depression and severe anxiety for many years, and I really didn't know who I was.
If anybody loves sports, it's Bryce. So it was really hard for him not to get to play sports physically. So then when Ryan and Bryce decided to do this together, then he got to do a sport and got to feel what it's like. And so that, of course, made my heart full.
Until I took that leap of faith and really started doing things with Ryan, and then meeting you and Brandon and the rest of our team, is when I really truly found who I am and found comfortability in my own skin.
And so from that point on, our conversations, connections, TriDAT became something greater. So we've partnered over the last 4 years of doing running events, doing endurance events, and doing some triathlons. And through that, we've been able to speak around the country, raise money for charitable causes. And so TriDAT is becoming something much bigger than just little one-offs. It was following that voice that I heard on race day in Kona, Hawaii, almost 5 years ago, where it says you're meant to do more. And that more has become something far greater than I ever could have imagined.
Good job, Bryce. You did, man. Love you, man. How you feel, Bryce?
2:22 in the course record. Connor Holt. Back in 2004.
I remember getting the invite a little over a year ago that Bryce and I are invited to Kona. And I'm telling you, I was in tears because this was a dream that I had and a goal in 2017 to give somebody an opportunity to cross their finish line. Little did I ever dream that we would have the opportunity to bring this full circle, but it was how we live. It's how we motivate and how we live as a foundation, is to do amazing things. In order to do that, you have to have big goals.
I am thankful that we get to have one last big moment as a group.
Kona it's a incredibly tough course. There's been 2 teams that have finished it that are push assist teams in the past.
It overwhelms me with every array of emotion to have Bryce, toe the line with the best in the world.
The experience that I know we're about to embark on, and just knowing that there's going to be so many things that I don't know that we're going to accomplish along the way, like challenges that we're going to not have maybe foreseen. We plan for everything, right? But there's things that you just can't account for, or things that just happen that are outside of your control. But going through that experience and knowing the team that we have and coming out on the other side of that, that's the other side is what I look for. My favorite part is the other side.
We're getting to dance on the grandest stage of them all as a group, as a family. Man, you can't write that.
Now I'm starting like the big time, big time, big time. Now I'm starting like the 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 big time, big time, big time. Now I'm starting like the big time. Now I'm starting like the big. Now I'm starting like the.
Other than that, man, Bryce and I were just talking earlier, just, being thankful that we're here.
We're very thankful.
We're just ready.
Yeah.
Ready to get in the water and ready to go. I think that's when the jitters and all the nerves will go away. It's just letting just breaking a sweat. Until then, it's just going to be intense.
How are you two feeling?
Sleepy.
Coming down the stairs, and for him to actually now see and experience everything I've been saying for 5 years of what that moment meant like to me. I remember standing there on the sand going, this is it. This is it, and we get to go do this. And pulling him into the water, and I look back one more time to look at Ryan and Brandon, and just us giving it that head nod like, we did it, we did it. We talked about it for so long. And we thought, what would it be like if we could get Bryce to Kona? What would it be like for him to experience this? That virtually very, very few athletes in his situation could ever imagine. And to get in the water with the pros at the same time, that happens in no other professional sport. And we were able to pull this off somehow, some way, to pull it off. That was everything. The years of hard work, the years of blood, sweat, and tears for all of us at that moment was something that will never be forgotten.
You know, it was one of the fastest swims I've ever been a part of. To see, Ryan just cut through that water, and I'm getting splashed by probably thousands of athletes. I'm tasting salt water. I'm getting my wetsuits all just wet and I can just feel water in the kayak.
Cannon goes off, and we go as a physically challenged division. So we got in the rhythm of the swim, and it's probably 500 yards until that first age group of athletes came upon us. But I noticed as we got a little bit further out, the swells on race day were something I had not experienced, even just swimming by myself in years past. So having a kayak on the back of me made it rather challenging. I would be over the swell, Bryce wouldn't, and so it would pull me back to him, and this was this bucking effect the entire race. So, we had a great swim, hour and 16 minutes. But I love the part of the swim when you actually make the turn around and you're coming back in towards the pier. Now I look to the right, I can see the sun coming up over the volcano. The water now, illuminates. And I know when Bryce is back there getting splashed, getting swells, he's getting the real experience of what a lot of us go through. But the coming back in, now the swells, are still messing with us, but now that's pushing the cart up above me, so I'd have Bryce over me, and then the swell would come through and then slingshotting back. And so we were doing a lot of this on the way back in. But I remember getting in close to the pier, thinking it's time. Now the hard part begins, and that's getting on the bike. Man, I remember us coming at a transition and getting through this, and the thousands of people in this small little confined area was so loud. But we get up, we're out, we're moving through mile 2, 3, 4 in town. And one thing I noticed, it didn't matter where there were people, is way to go, Bryce, you guys are awesome. It was constant, way to go, Bryce. And hearing his name being shouted and screamed at people running up to him, Bryce, you're the man, you're the man. Way to go, Bryce. It was fueling me. And I think it was about mile 5. We're coming down. I have a little chance to recover, be able to pick up some speed. And there was a seam in the road. There was something that I wasn't prepared for. Front wheel hits, handlebars went.
TriDAT is to me a platform where we give individuals, disability or not, the opportunity to do amazing things, to find what they're truly passionate about and really help them hone in on an idea and turn it into an objective and then turn it into an achievement.
My eyes weren't open to how meaningful it was to me to make sure that I was helping other people feel included in all the things that I feel are fun and wonderful and special, right? And I think as people, everybody wants to feel included. I mean, even if you get an opportunity to say no to something, you still want the invite, right? And so I find myself pursuing life to give people the invite.
Today, it has changed my life in a way that I never dreamed possible.
Turned an idea into a goal, into an objective, into an achievement.
This is an incredible team.
This is Bryce Wooten from Oklahoma City.
You're meant to do more. I followed that voice, blind faith, and went for it. And that in and of itself has given me the peace and comfort that I can go and pursue whatever other big audacious goals that are out there and not be afraid to fail.
whether we cross the finish line or not, I truly believe that we accomplished our goal because we're here, we enjoyed the moment, even if it's not the outcome we wanted. It truly is because we made people aware that inclusion is a thing.
Never in a million years would I have dreamed the day would take a big turn. And it taught me so much about Bryce's world and the other folks living in a chair that are relying upon somebody to take care of them, somebody to get them from point A to point B, to feed them, clothe them, everything. And at that moment, I'm seeing Bryce, and I'm like, Bud, it's okay, man. I'm sorry. And he's like, no, Bud, I'm in a really dark place. I'm like, I get it. You have all right to be. I'm in the same dark place. And no, I'm in a really dark place, and he's getting really emotional. And I'm like, man, Bud, it's okay. And he's like, Ryan, me seeing you on the side of the highway, struggling, seeing you can't get your heart rate down, seeing you nauseous, seeing you trying to fix the bike, trying to keep me safe. He goes, I had no control. I couldn't call my mom. I couldn't unbuckle to get out of my chair to give you a hand. I couldn't help you. The thought of you collapsing on the side of the road scared me to death. And he goes, I lost my dad 6 years ago. I had no control of that. And now I'm watching this play out with you. You've been a part of my life for the last 5 years, and I'm seeing you struggle. And I can't, Ryan. It was something I had not ever, I just didn't know. Because I've never looked at it through his viewpoint of the luxury of what we have, of being in control of our lives. I get to do anything I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, and it's been that way my entire life. If I'm hungry, I go get something to eat. Thirsty, I get something to drink. I need to go to the store, I get the keys, get in the car, go do it. Bryce is relying upon others to do most of his day-to-day activities. And when I saw it through that situation, through a stressful, life-changing moment, it wasn't about crossing the finish line anymore. That was our moment, or my moment especially, to go, I get it. As much as I possibly can get it, Bryce, I now see your world so much more clear. I wouldn't have seen that had we crossed that finish line. It'd have been great, but I wouldn't have learned that lesson. And that, as hard as it gutted me. It gutted me to see Bryce go through this, and it has to have that moment, him to share that with me. It bonded us in such a way that I never dreamed we could be bonded. I thought we were as close as we were ever going to get.
If an individual with cerebral palsy or any disability reached out to me and said, I saw you and I fell in love with your journey, what do I do? And I said the first step I would tell them would be to find what you're truly passionate about.
Folks who are interested in wanting to do something bigger than themselves, that are fully able but don't have somebody in their lives that is differently abled. And to get them to motivate, go, because of Ryan and Bryce, I'm curious. I want to learn more.
Really didn't have any direction as far as what I wanted my life to be. I wasn't really that confident in myself, and over the last 5 years, not only Ryan but Ellis and Brandon and my other teammates have really opened my eyes as far as like reigniting the confidence that I once had and making sure that I know that I'm valued and loved.
Now